Today I'm going to show you how to write an equation of a circle when it is written in general form to standard form. So right now the way this equation is written is in a general form. I have x squared plus y squared plus 12x plus 14y plus 69 equals 0. So what we're going to do is write this equation in standard form. Then we're going to identify the center and the radius. So the steps are listed here on the right. The first thing we want to do is group the x terms together and then group the y terms together. So let's go ahead and do that. I can see I have an x squared here. So I'm going to go and write x squared. And I will use this pen here. I also have a 12x. So I'm going to write plus 12x. I'm going to leave a little space because we're going to then complete the square. So I'm going to leave a little space. Then what we want to do is group the y values together. So here is y squared. So plus y squared. And then if you look, we have a plus 14y. So I'm going to go ahead and write plus 14y. And then all of this is going to equal to, now number 3 says bring the constants to the other side of the equation. So we have a plus 69. I want to bring it to the other side of the equation. Now how do we normally do that? We need to do the opposite of addition. So we're going to subtract 69 on both sides. And we will have negative 69 on the right. So this will cancel. So above here, I'm going to write negative 69. All right, so all we did so far is group our x terms together, our y terms together, and we brought the constant to the right side of the equation. The next thing we're going to need to do is complete the square, but we're going to need to do that twice, once for the x terms and once for the y terms. So let's go ahead and look at the x terms. We want to complete the square. If you remember from last semester, how do we complete the square? We take half of our b term, which in this case is 12. So half of 12 is 6. And then I'm going to write that down here. And then we square it. So we're going to add 36 to this binomial. But remember, if we add 36 on the left side, whatever we do on the left, we need to balance the equation. I'm going to add 36 on the right side. Let me change this color. It's too bright. All right, so next we're going to complete the square for the y term. So what is half of 14? We're going to take half of 14 and square it. So I'm going to write that down here. So half of 14 is 7, and squaring 7 will give us 49. So I'm going to write plus 49. And remember, if I add 49 on the left side of the equation, we should add 49 on the right side of the equation. Okay, once we have completed the square for the x and y terms, then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to factor each trinomial. So what do I mean by factor each trinomial? Well, we learned how to factor already. So here's our first trinomial. This is x squared plus 12x plus 36. Maybe you can factor this in your head. If you can't, I'm going to show you, remember how we use the diamond method. So we can say what two numbers give us 36 that add up to 12, the same two numbers. So if you said 6 and 6, you are correct. And it's not a coincidence that that is our half of our b value right here. So when we factor the first trinomial, we're going to end up with, I'll write it right here, x plus 6 squared. Now we're going to also do the same thing. We're going to factor our y terms. So we have a trinomial here. How are we going to factor that? Well, we're going to do the same thing. Two numbers that multiply and give us 49 that add up to 14. and that is 7 and 7. And it's always going to be half of your b value here. So I'm going to go ahead and write this as y plus 7 squared. So you can already see the standard form of your circle forming here because we have the x plus 6 squared plus y plus 7 squared. Now the last step is to get our radius squared. So that is all these three numbers added together right here. All right, that gives us 16. So rewriting the right side, we get that our equation of the circle is x plus 6 squared plus y plus 7 squared equals 16. Once we have it in the standard form, we can identify the center. Remember what the center is. It is our h and our k. And in this case, what would be our h and our k? It's always x minus h squared. So in this case, we have that h is negative 6 and k is negative 7. Now the radius is the square root of 16, since this is our r squared. So if r squared equals 16, then what should r be? And if you said r should be 4, you are right. How do we get that? We take the square root of r squared, which is r, and the square root of 16 is 4. So our radius is 4. And this completes how we write the equation from general to standard form.